Hello, hello. Hey, I got something to say, people. And I know that you love it when I have a big treat and do an extra. Hey, I got something to say. Yes, it's the most awesome thing ever. That means two amazing women in one. And you're saying, Sandy, why are you doing that? Well, I meet someone and I don't want to wait to June to bring them on. So here is Gloria. How are you, Gloria Bell?
I'm doing just fine. How are you doing?
Well, I could have talked to you forever before we even went live. And I know you can't unplug it, but later on, we want to tell them a little bit about some of the maybe hobbies you have that I saw around your office. That alone, and I didn't tell you before, but I'm a huge Star Wars fan.
Uh,
Yes.
my
That's why I
lightsaber.
asked you where you lived. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. Those are out. Well, if the batteries weren't dead, they are actually working lightsabers. That is actually Princess Leia's lightsaber.
Oh,
And I built both of them. So
of course you did. All right. All right. Why are we here? I don't know, but we're going to tell you a little bit about Gloria. I met her at a conference. I thought she was awesome sauce. So let me tell you about her. Along with a personal passion and commitment for all that to equity and equality in tech and the world in general, Gloria Bell brings over 40 years of successful business operations, communications, event management, and entrepreneurial experience to her roles as founder of the Women in Tech Summit, founder/executive director of the Inspiring Tech Foundation, and Philly Startup Leaders. Oh my God, she's Philly Startup Leader board member. When she is not working, I saw a lot of it, to build and grow the community of women and non-binary individuals in technology or studying the latest technology changing our world. She is behind the lens of her camera, in the kitchen baking. I didn't see any baked goods though, digging in her garden or spending time with friends and family, and huge fan of Disney, which I saw. Gloria, you are one fascinating woman. You're never going to get bored, are you?
I try hard not to.
I mean, this is awesome. I could just have a whole show. She has a whole thing of, would you call them Mickey ears? What do you call them?
Mini ears.
Mini ears.
Mini ears, yeah.
And then on a whole nother wall that you won, right? Medals for
Yeah.
races in Disney with your daughter-in-law.
Yes, my daughter-in-law and I do the Disney races at Disney World, and it's all the medals from the various races, 5Ks, 10Ks, half marathons that we've done
And they're all in Disney.
at Disney. Yes,
And so
in
how often are,
costume, the whole thing.
oh God, I need pictures to put up afterwards. I want to see those so bad. And I'm all about that. All right, so how often do you go there?
We go at least once a year. They have what they call Princess Weekend, and so we always go Princess Weekend, and then we try and do at least one or two others throughout the year, whether at Disney or they do some of them virtually as well. So,
I've never been, I mean, I've been to Disney, but I've never been to the princess thing. Do you go and get the whole thing done?
oh well, we have costumes that we do, so we'll dress up as one of the Disney princesses, and like we'll generally do a a joint costume where like we'll do Anna and Elsa, or she'll be Cinderella and I'll be fairy godmother. Um, one year we did, she was Rapunzel and I was Pascal the chameleon from Tangled. So
So it was funny when I put this out to a lot of the people that you were coming on, and what you did, some guy emailed and said, I don't think tech is boring anymore.
tech is never boring. Never boring.
Or
You just have to find the piece of it that's interesting to you.
Yeah. Or when you meet people, like, they're not like you think. They're nothing. I don't know. Not the ones I meet, you know.
No. And that's just it. You have to get out and meet the right people.
Which leads me to the statement you picked when I said, okay, for women around the world and men and anyone else watching and listening,
Yes.
your statement, anything can be possible with the right people around you. Why'd you pick that one, Gloria?
Because I really truly believe in it. Um, I really think that we can achieve anything if we bring the right people along with us. All too often we get in our heads that we have to do it on our own. Like
Mm.
we are responsible for all of our own successes.
Yep.
Or we're responsible for our own failures, which is the most dangerous thing to get in our heads. But if we will surround ourselves with the right group of people, those successes and those failures, they may not come in exactly the way we had envisioned them, the successes
Mm.
and the failures, the fall won't be quite so hard and the landing won't be quite so bumpy.
Mm.
The right people are around us. So anything that I'm going to use races as a great example. I'm not a runner. I actually hate to run. We're talking
What?
with a passion. I love my daughter-in-law. We share a love for Disney. My whole family does, but my daughter-in-law
Okay.
in
Okay.
particular. We're the Disney adults in our family.
Love it.
And this was something she got me started doing. It has kept me active. It keeps me moving. This is our thing that we do together. This is my person who motivates me to do something I would not do otherwise. And now I have this beautiful wall full of bling because this is something she and I do together.
That is incredible.
Um, you know, everything else that I do, everything that I have ever achieved in my life, I can look at every moment of every single thing and go, this person or this group of people were there. And it is because of that word of encouragement, that piece of support, that piece of whatever it might have been. Had it not been for this would not have happened.
Mm.
This person picked me up at my lowest point. This person's piece of advice got me through that failure or through that dark moment. So I really truly believe anything is possible if we just surround ourselves with the right people.
You know, I was thinking about where I met you, which is another unlikely thing I would never have gone to. And I
Mhm.
was trying to describe it to somebody. So I think you might do a better job. I said, I went to something called Bar Camp in Philly, but I
Yeah.
think it was for tech people, really. But it was supposed to be a non-conference, and I had to put a sticky note, and then people vote on you, and then you get to speak maybe in a room or not. And you were part of that. That's how I found you.
Exactly.
And you heard me speak, I heard you speak. And what was fascinating to me, and I've thought of this and pondered this for a long time, was your talk and how you organized it. You presented a question about humans and what I forget I'm trying to think of how you word it. I don't want to word it, but you literally just gave us an opportunity to speak about how we felt, and you sat there and truly took it in, and then afterwards gave your point of view. I've never seen that done ever.
That's kind of the way I teach. So
So that's not the first time, because I was like, whoa, this is a whole new thing. Present
no,
a topic, listen to us, take it in, really take it in, and then say, learn from us, and then give your view.
Yeah. I mean, and I think that's a really important way to look at anything. Some of the most important things that you will learn will be from everyone else. And we all have something to teach each other. And
Yeah.
it goes back to that idea of surrounding yourselves with the right people.
They were
We
awesome.
well,
They were
thank you.
awesome people.
Thank you
Yeah.
so, yeah. I mean, we go in with an idea of how something should be, how something should be done, um, because we're the experts, or because we've planned it, or because, we've done the research, or this is how my least favorite words in the entire world. This is how it's always been done. Kind of want to burn those words to the ground. But when we have the right people around us
Mm,
to question what we do, I'm a firm believer in listen more than you talk. And when you do that, your eyes get opened.
mm,
Um, you may not change your mind. You
yeah.
may go, okay, I was right, or I was headed down the right path. But sometimes
Hmm.
you may find something entirely new and different, or you may find a different way, or you may just find the support you needed for where you were headed in the first place.
Yeah. I absolutely agree with you. And there's so many times when I just sat and listened that it just gave me a different perspective that I never thought of. Like the topic you were talking about, and we were talking about humans and interactions, and do humans really suck, and when do you step in and say you suck, like, or you're at I
Mhm.
remember a coffee house and somebody's rude, do you let them know, do you not let them know, and it was such a everyday topic, but the way you allowed us to express ourselves, and then afterwards took it in, and then give us your point. I never thought of it that way, and it was just I was it burned into my brain. Like I teach a lot, and I've never done it in that style. Not that I don't let people ask a lot of questions, but
Yeah,
yeah.
what's funny is I cannot remember exactly what I called that talk. I remember I had a great name for it at the time, but it was around, civility.
Right. And
But
manners. Yeah. And when do you just let it go? Or when someone's being rude, when do you say, no, that's not okay? Instead of just ignoring and letting them be the way
yeah,
they are.
and when is it time to say no more?
Yeah.
We're not gonna tolerate this anymore.
So I know it's a little off topic, but because I've bastardized it, can you just tell them what bar camp is?
Sure. So bar camp is a type of conference, and I'm putting that in air quotes,
Yeah.
because it actually is what we call an unconference. The reason it's called an unconference is because it is an attendee driven conference. The attendees create all the content. I actually run another unconference called PodCamp. It Bar camp is much more general. I'll explain all about that in a second.
Okay.
PodCamp, the way it is different is our focus is on digital media,
Oh,
podcasting, social media, digital marketing, tech in general. So it has a little bit more of a focus, but it's the same type of conference. Bar camp kind of is a tech focus, but as you saw from the topics there, we talk about everything at bar camp.
yes.
It can be technology, it can be, I think somebody had a crochet session on the board. But
I
all
missed
of
that.
the content is attendee driven. Everyone who is attending has the opportunity to suggest a session. The sessions are put up for all the other attendees to vote on. And we didn't run into this problem at this particular bar camp because they had more than enough rooms and more than enough time
Yeah.
slots that everybody's session was able to be accommodated. But occasionally you'll have a bar camp where there's not that much availability. And what they'll do is they'll choose the sessions that have the most votes and they'll schedule them in
Yeah.
2 time
Yeah.
slots. In this, fortunately, we had the wonderful opportunity being at Wharton with all the space that we had. Everybody's session had the opportunity to be presented. Everybody gets to choose what session they go to, in what time slot. You know, you say, I'm going to speak about this topic. It's on the board in this room at this time slot. There may be 5 other sessions going on at the same time. You pick which one is of most interest to you. You go to it. If you're in that session for a few minutes and it's not resonating with you, it is perfectly acceptable to get up and leave and go to another session. Unlike a lot of conferences where,
Oh, yeah.
you're very uncomfortable and you're like, okay, I'm all here, I got to stay here. It is all about interacting and learning from each other
Mm.
in an attendee-driven, attendee-chosen format. There are organizers who put the framework together, and they're amazing because putting the framework together of a conference that you don't really know what it's going to be until the day it happens is
Yeah.
not easy. And they are fantastic. But that is what a non-conference is all about, is giving everyone the opportunity to speak on the things that they want to speak on and giving all the attendees the opportunity to choose what's relevant to them.
Yeah. And I did see people come and go and no one was getting offended. It was like, all right, cool. Pop in next.
Yeah, there's actually a term for it. It's called the rule of 2 feet. You have 2 feet, get up and leave.
Oh, the rule of 2 feet. Okay. I
Yeah.
had that in my class last week, but they were high school students.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a rule of 2 feet. If you're in a session and it's not clicking for you, then you are welcome to quietly and non-disruptively get up and leave and go into another session. And so coming into another session midway is
Yeah.
not interrupting anyone.
Yeah, I saw that. All right. So I have to ask you, you are involved in a lot here. And I was looking at it. I mean, there's a lot of organizations here. And
Yeah.
the biggest question I got when I sent this out is, one, were you in the tech world first before you founded these organizations? If you
Yes,
say no, that would be fun. That would be so fun.
it's kind of a straddling yes and no. So tech is not my first career. I actually had a 20+ year career doing something completely different before I walked away and cashed in my 401k and started my own company in the tech industry.
What was that?
Insurance.
Okay, that's totally different. All right.
Yeah, completely different.
Okay.
Uh, so the organizations I'm currently involved in, so Philly Startup Leaders and Women in Tech Summit, came about around the same time I was making that career change. So I have been involved in one way or another with those 2 organizations shortly after I started my tech career.
Okay. Okay.
So, yes, I started my tech career before them, but not long before them. Volunteer positions with both those organizations at the very beginning, and not long after I got into tech.
So then I need to know more because it says, as founder of the Women in Tech Summit.
Yeah.
So how long after you were involved with those did you create this?
So I am one of the founders of the Women in Tech Summit. It is 12 years old now, which
Oh,
I catch my breath every time I say that. I'm like, I can't believe it's been 12 years. It was started by a group of women working in tech and entrepreneurship here in the Philadelphia area, uh, really as a way to bring together all the women that we knew in our personal networks and kind of interconnect those networks. Was originally intended to be a one-day, one-time event. And 12
oh,
years later, we are now a global conference. And
what do
I
you
was
mean you
one.
just wanted it to be a one-day event, just to hang out with your pals? Like,
Well, it really was to just bring all these women together and interconnect the networks that we had. When we did that first event, we did not have any vision of it being even an annual event. It was, we need to bring
hmm,
these various networks that we have individually together and build a foundation of this community of women here in this area. Um, it grew to become an annual event in Philadelphia and then expanded nationally. And then with the pandemic,
wow.
expanded globally once we went virtual. And I have been with the event since the beginning and have over the years actually become the person who was responsible for running it.
Yeah,
Everyone else has gone on to other things, and it's become thing that I am still here
yeah,
with,
your baby.
my
You know,
baby.
they asked me in the last 10 years, so I'm going to say 12 years, what is the biggest change you've seen in tech with women?
Biggest change. One, in the number of women working in this industry. When you look at the percentages that everyone talks about, you don't see a change, but the number of women has changed dramatically. The
Uh,
percentage hasn't changed because the number of positions has increased. And as the number of women increase, that percentage then still stays the same. So the number of women, the variety of jobs that women are doing in this industry has changed. You see women doing many, many, many different things. Uh, and I have to say, the level of comfort of women being willing to stand up and claim their place in this industry.
hmm,
There's still work we have to
yeah,
do. There's
yeah, yeah,
still work to do. But I see a difference in how women approach their place in this industry in the last 10, 15 years. And gives me lots of hope.
yeah. Well, there was a couple women that had emailed me and said they still, well, these women were older. They're I'm thinking they're in their 50s, and they said they
Like me.
still don't have the confidence to ask for the money that they know the male partners are making. And how can they gain that? I think they should go to all these conferences and be with like-minded women to support them and lift them up.
That is first step. Absolutely first step. You need a tribe around you to support you, um, and to remind you
Mm,
of how amazing that you are.
yeah,
I mean, that is absolutely a necessity. Um, Brass tacks kind of things to do. You need to be tracking what your accomplishments are. It is a lot easier to go in and ask for things when you can go in and say, here is why I should have them. Statistics data, facts, those speak. And while it is still uncomfortable to have those conversations, having those conversations with that in your hand
Yeah.
is a little bit less uncomfortable. And I would also ask anyone who is still feeling that uncomfortable about having those kinds of conversations. And I am not saying, I am not passing judgments. I am not saying good, bad, or indifferent. I'm asking
Yeah.
them
Yeah.
to ask themselves these questions.
Yeah.
Am I in the right place?
Mm.
If you are that uncomfortable having that kind of conversation, is that the place for you? And as I said, I am not passing judgment. I am not
Right. You
making
don't,
any assumptions about
right.
any
You
of
don't
that.
know. Yeah.
I have no clue. But maybe it's a conversation they need to have with themselves.
Yeah.
And it's a conversation I have had to have with myself many times over my career. And sometimes the answer's been yes, and sometimes the answer's been no, and sometimes the answer is no, but I can't do anything about it right now, but I'm going to start figuring out how to.
I was just at a networking event for women yesterday, and there was over 100 women, and I was really happy to see you got up, you did your 30-second thing, and some of the women were saying, yes, I have this job, but I'm exploring other opportunities because I know long term it's not for me. Right now, I need to stay in it, but
Mhm.
this is what I would like. And they were spreading it out to everyone. I thought,
Yes.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
And do it while you have a job. It's much
Mhm.
easier.
Oh, it's so much easier. But to be practicing that kind of self-care and that self-awareness of, I know this isn't quite right for me right now, but I also know I need to protect myself. I need to take care of my family. I need to,
Yep. Yep.
whatever their reason for not taking a leap at the
Yeah.
moment. But I'm also going to practice the self-care and the self-awareness of how do I put myself in a position that I can be happier, that I can be more fulfilled, that I
Mhm.
can, whatever their fill in the blank of
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can be is. Um, that is awesome and amazing. And actually, those are the things when you talk about the changes I've seen in this industry and in the women, because I meet thousands of women every year
Yeah.
um, through the work that I do, and the changes that I'm seeing, it's that's some of the things I'm seeing is a lot of us being more willing to have that introspection, to be willing to stand up and say, you know, I need this, or to have those hard conversations, not only with other people, but with ourselves.
You have to start there, Gloria. You have to start there. And I see, even though it's
Not sometimes.
yeah. Like you just got to be honest with yourself first. Just write it down. We don't have to look at it. I do see it for me, even in the last 10 years in my world, more women supporting women than ever, which really helps.
Yes,
It really
absolutely.
builds you up when other women, and just again, last week, there was a woman, which I want to talk about your photography, who was getting up and she was saying she was a photographer, and the woman right after her, and she said, listen, and she's a hell of a photographer. And we've both been in the business for 30 some years. And she was telling the younger ladies, if you do it right, there's enough room for everyone. Matter of fact, we just went to lunch and we're going to support one another. And I thought, and everyone cheered her on
Hmm.
because, you're thinking, oh no, there's another photographer. And she's like, don't think of it that way.
No, you have to be willing to support other people as much as you need to be supported.
I
And
like
That
that.
is a scary, scary thought. One of my favorite, I give a talk and one of my first slides, and it's my favorite statement ever, and that's there's a special place in hell for women who don't support other women. It's from Madeleine Albright.
Of course she said that.
Of course she said that. Um, and
Oh
and I
my God.
and I mean, and that's not just about women, it's about people in general. You only get what you put out into the universe.
Mm,
And if you are not putting out support for other people, you are not going to get that back. And, support doesn't have to be grand gestures. It can be a gesture like that photographer. Like, I think that is the most amazing thing in the world. Because
mm,
that took nothing away from her. It took a minute and a half of her time. And if we all will just do those little gestures,
mm.
that referral for somebody, that taking a moment to lift somebody up. I have a friend um, who every time she sees somebody, post something on LinkedIn that is, they're promoting something or they're happy about something, her policy is, I'm not just going to like it. I'm not just going to comment. She reposts it.
Oh,
And I'm like, I wish I could be as good as her because sometimes I'm like scrolling through really fast and I
yeah,
just
me too. Me too.
forget to do it. But I'm trying to, like, that's one of my things for this year is to be better about that. But she's like, that little thing of amplifying somebody else's message.
Mm,
And
that's a good idea.
I'm like, it really is.
Yeah,
It's
because it means a lot to them too. And I'm like, yeah,
a lot to
I'm
me.
not on there a lot, but I think about it. And I'm like, Sandy, you're all about supporting people. Well, whether you like it or not, the biggest way you can support them from your house is on social media.
Yeah,
It really matters.
yeah. And it doesn't take a lot sometimes, just
Mm,
somebody asks for a referral, make sure you've got people top of mind.
yeah.
Um,
Push repost, push repost.
uh, exactly.
Oh
But it's
my,
also, that friend that you haven't heard from in a while.
yeah.
When was the last time you reached out to them? You're hearing a lot of the things that I'm committing myself to being better at this year.
Okay. Taking notes.
Yes, making notes. Well, because
All
we
right.
all get busy. And
Yeah, and yet for me, I do. I always have when they say New Year's resolutions, I don't know if I call it that, but I always reflect what I did last year, what I can build on.
yeah,
And then what's really important to me that I really want to do. Like you said, I want to make sure I support others, reach out to the friend you haven't talked to. My friend Gloria, who lives in California, who I haven't talked to in a year.
yeah.
Her name is Gloria. Oh my God. Wait, the time, where did it go? But couple things. So tell us, because we started about your photography, because it says, that's where you are. You're behind the lens. So is this a hobby? Is it a career? Tell me more.
So it's a hobby. I'm an amateur photographer. I just find great joy behind the lens of a camera. And I think everything I see,
Mhm.
I see it as pictures. And so a few years ago, I bought myself a Mother's Day present and bought myself a nice camera I but what's funny is I found I take it with me less than I used to, and most of them come off my phone.
Oh,
Takes great pictures too.
it doesn't have the same feel, but it takes great
No,
pictures.
but it takes great pictures.
Yeah,
So yeah, I enjoy taking pictures. I enjoy seeing things a little bit different
yeah,
and capturing that moment. But these are all from places I've traveled. I get to combine my two loves, travel and photography.
yeah, yeah. That's awesome. I was thinking that because my son, he goes to Tyler Art and he's an artist, but he also likes photography. And I'm like, you got the Apple, whatever it is, 16, 18, just take pictures. Goes, but mom, I want a camera, like a camera with lenses. And he goes, plus people take you more seriously when you have
He's not wrong about that.
like carrying his portfolio, right? It's like, now you're a real artist. Oh, Gloria. All right. So the summit, when is it? How can people find it? Look it up, all that good stuff.
So our spring summit is May 2nd and 3rd, right here
Oh,
in Philly.
soon.
Soon. Yes, it's almost here. Um, May 2nd and 3rd, right here in Philly. It's going to be at the Science History Institute right down on Chestnut Street.
Oh,
And it is womenintechsummit.com is our website. And just look for the spring 2024 summit there on the homepage and click right through. Links are there to register. Early bird tickets are on sale right now, so you can get a discount if you buy your tickets now.
okay.
And we will be announcing speakers very soon. We're actually
Ooh.
finishing up our speaker selection right now.
Oh, good. Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, we actually have some really cool things that are going to be happening along with our regular talks and workshops and panels and stuff. We've got some really great networking things that are going to be a part of the event this year that are a little bit different than what we've done in the past.
And again, just to reiterate, you don't have to be a woman in tech to enjoy the conference.
Correct. Conference is for women identifying and non-binary individuals and their allies. So
Ooh.
men are welcome as long as they are allies of the women attending, who work in or with technology, any field, any level of your career, but you don't necessarily have to work in tech to come. We have sessions that will be there that will be intro. So if you want to learn a little something about tech, there will be those opportunities. And then we also have career development, professional development sessions as well.
How many people do you normally get a year?
We're expecting somewhere between 500 and 600 at this conference.
A lot of people.
A lot of people. Yeah.
Good for you, Gloria. All right. I really, really appreciate you being on the show. And I'm so happy I got to meet you at Bar Philly. I'm sure our paths will cross again. But
Oh,
before we go, is there anything else you want to say to the people around the world on, hey, I got something to say?
so gonna leave you with one thought, and that is listen more than you talk. I guess it's actually a multi-pronged thought. Listen more than you talk. Make sure you're building a great group of people around you because that's what's going to get you far. And thank you so much for having me on. I love chatting with you. This is always so much fun.
Yeah, it's a blast. I was so looking forward to this. All right, so listen, don't worry, the people that are watching it live and you only caught it for a minute or two. I know you're sending me questions in. When we're done, we're also recording it on Zoom. So it will be posted on all social media platforms. Gloria and I would really appreciate you sharing it and liking it and rating it and spreading the love. We will do the same for you.
Yes.
And you know what I'm going to say. Until next time, thank you, Gloria, and toodles.